In this video, I just want to give a real-world demonstration of why it's important to have a aperture that you can open up in low light situations. The lens that I have attached right now is the Nikon AFS 55-300 with an aperture of 4.5 to 5.6 GED. Now that aperture is obviously adjust to the focal length. Right now we have it set to 55. So right now what we're looking at is we are looking at an aperture of 4.5 with an ISO of 100, and the shutter speed is blinking saying 25 seconds. So in order for this, if this was a picture to expose, the camera is saying that it would take 25 seconds for it to correctly expose. Now, I'm going to swap to another lens that is the kit lens that come with my camera. You won't be able to see in this dark light, but I'm going to swap to the AFS Nikon 18-55, which has an aperture of 3.5 to 5.6, and I'll show you what the 3.5 aperture looks like in the same environment. Alright, so now we have the AFS Nikon 18-55 millimeter DX lens with a 3.5 to 5.6 aperture. For those wondering, this is the VR1 version that came with the D3200, not the VR2, but I don't imagine it makes a lot of difference. So what you're going to see here is this aperture is set to 3.5, which is available at the 18mm mark, and you can already tell that the image is brighter. However, again, if you were exposing this photo, and I have this set to aperture priority to essentially force the top aperture for the most light, it's still telling me that it would take 25 seconds to expose this photo. So obviously, if you're in an environment where anything is moving around and you're trying to take a picture but you don't want to sacrifice ISO, creating grain. Now obviously this is an extreme environment, you're allowed to change your ISO, but for demonstrative purposes I'm keeping the ISO down to 100 to see the difference. The last lens I'm going to attach is actually the one that you see in view. It is the Nikon 35mm 1.8 AFS lens. It's a Nikon DX, and we're going to see how much of a difference it looks at 1.8. Now keep in mind, I'm not bothering to try to keep this at the same focal lengths because that wasn't the intention of the video. The aperture is the only intention. Alright, for the final portion of this video, again, this is the AFS Nikon 35mm with a 1.8 aperture. As you can see in this video, it's much clearer to see. It's very apparent how far apart this lens is from the other two in terms of how much light is allowed in. Now in this video, I'm not going to go into the differences of what aperture creates as far as focus. The intentions of this video is purely about the amount of light coming in. So if you're taking pictures indoors in low light situations, I just wanted to make a very clear video of just how different it is to have an aperture that's this large. So I hope that this puts it in a real world context, and I hope that my cat doesn't destroy my lenses. Thank you for watching.